about it, you know, we talked about financing it for 2 years, and, and we're gonna bump the tractor to next year, and that dump truck from the state that we're getting is gonna be coming in cheaper than we thought. With the fleet truck that's allowed to 20, the difference in the other truck, we could just pay for it. She probably got the final.
It wouldn't require any financing.
No.
And
No, we've looked at everything, and we're just asking for a revision of our equipment reserve purchasing plan. When we originally budgeted, for this year, we budgeted to purchase a tractor for $40,000. The fleet pickup for $20,000, and then there was a police car and budget truck also, the budget truck lease also in there. At that time, we had planned on purchasing the KDOT dump truck and brine tank from KDOT, at the end of 2020. Due to COVID and all of the state working from home and everything, they did not get the sell of that up until, that actually will not become available until after July 27th of this year. So the end of next month. From what I understand, I mean, we've been planning on 2 dump trucks. We got the one, was that beginning of last year? 19? And then we were gonna get the second one in 2020.
Which was approved in December, but then the state did not make it
Release it.
Yeah. So, what we are, you can see in the packet, the KDOT truck, Sterling dump truck, they have listed for $27,000, and then the brine tank for $1,800. So we are asking council to delay the acquisition of the tractor until the 2021 budget, which would free up $40,000 of budgeted funds. So then we can obtain the KDOT dump truck and brine tank for $28,800 when it becomes available next month. Use a portion of the $11,200 budget authority savings to purchase the fleet truck from Midway Motors that we had talked about previously, which would not require financing on that. So we could purchase that outright with the state, or with postponing the tractor purchase.
Are we okay with the tractor we got until next, I mean, we've been using for this long, haven't we?
Yeah, well, we get by this year with this, we need to probably add a little more to the next one to get something new enough to where
Okay.
get a little lower hours.
Any other question?
So what we're buying is the dump truck with the tank, is that right?
It'll be a spreader with it, plus an additional brine tank will come with it. It'll be 3 pieces, 4 with the plow.
And we can still purchase the utility truck?
Yes, we would.
Yes.
See, I think they had 20 allotted for it already.
Right.
Right, and basically the action this evening will allow us to secure that truck this week from Midway, without doing bank financing on that acquisition. We'll still be in the position in a month to get the KDOT dump truck, brine tank spreader, salt spreader, and plow. The end of July. The budget's already got for our bucket truck lease in there, and the 10-6, which is the payment on the chief's patrol vehicle. It's due this year. So everything that's been set aside is there. We're just looking to reallocate the money and move the tractor into 2022's budget.
Okay.
Well, I would move to approve the recommended changes to the equipment reserve acquisition plan to include postponement of the purchase of a tractor for 2021 and the purchase of a KDOT dump truck with brine tank and purchase of a 2013 Chevy utility truck bid. Do I hear a second? Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Number 14, water line pay estimate Lago League upgrade project. Darren?
Skip the big one.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Mary had me confused there for a minute. Okay, so, this first one, we opened bids weeks and a half ago now on the electric conversion. And we had two bidders. The first one was IES Commercial, out of Nebraska, in the amount of $1,233,364.27. And the other bidder was Killian Power, and their bid was in at $1,771,095. So about $500,000 cheaper to go with IES out of Nebraska. So, this is correct me if I say anything wrong here, Roger, because I just did the front end part of this, so, but this is all the labor portion, all the materials, of course, will be purchased directly by the city.
Right.
This is total project,
No,
Just
this
the
is the
labor.
labor portion only.
well, that's what I mean, just the total project, total.
Yes, that's correct.
Why does it have 1221 in place and 1233?
Okay, so the 1221, when they originally turned in their first bid, or their bid sheet, right underneath their bid, they said this does not include the 1% bond, which we have to have as a city. So the 1233 is their 1227 or whatever, and 1% bond. We just included it for comparing apples to apples. Because the other company gives whatever requested us to include that bond, so we just added it in to get the final number. So the award number would be the 1,233,364.
This is significantly lower than what was projected.
I don't know by how much, but yes, it is.
The total project, original engineer's estimate was $3.7 million. Of that was approximately $2 million in labor, the others being material and transformers. We've got to upgrade and get new transformers, which we've been partnering with James Ging of the Kansas Power Pool. James has provided the takeoff list, material listing that we need, as well as we have a list of the transformers needed on it. The city will be doing direct acquisition through KPP as part of the financing package that they put together. So we'll be purchasing that material, have it landed here. If you award this project to IES this evening, we'll make the notification. James and I will work through the notice to proceed date on the project, and then we'll get underway with this.
Okay.
IES was the contractor that came in 2015 and worked with the city crews to complete the 12.5 conversion of our businesses up on the hill, and September 1 to an assisted living. Did that upgrade as well as they were the firm that decommissioned our other 2400 substation that was located in East Park across from the elementary school. So this is an organization that we've worked with in the past, and actually their lead foreman now was the site foreman in our city. So he knows the system very well.
It's somebody that's familiar with the system, which is a plus.
There's quite a difference between the bid totals.
Yes, sir.
This
Yeah,
company just works faster?
Well, the IES is a company that is very large, I mean, not very large. For this region of the country, they're large. So they have a lot of employees, they do a lot of major projects. Killian Power is a smaller company with, what's the others? Part of the process when they turn in bids is they identify projects they've worked on in the last couple of years, as well as equipment list and personnel list. I remember right, there were between 3 and 5 employees.
Yeah, that was their 3 full-time, and they had 2.
Right, where IES, they want to probably drop 15 people down here at any one time. Now they won't, but I mean, that's their level of, there's a larger company with more equipment and more experience with this type of stuff.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
As long as it's bonded.
Exactly, and that was the actual one that Chris asked about was the one.
And I would move to accept and award the 12.5 volt to 12.47 kilovolt conversion of the Hollister Water Plant Circuit 3 and 5 to the City of Marion project bid to IES Commercial Incorporated of Holdridge, Ridge, Nebraska. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion with the council? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Now this.
Now the pay estimate for the water line. This is pay estimate request number 5, for ditch diggers in the amount of $279,528.29. This puts us, as far as pay estimates go, right at the 50% mark for this project. I'll do the project update after this gets approved. I don't know if there's anything else really to talk about on the pay estimate side, so.
Okay. Any questions? I'll move to approve pay estimate number 5 of the Marion Water Project for ditch diggers. Second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
So you
Carried.
should have in your packet then the map of where we're at this time, the project update. You can see we're starting to turn a lot of things green, which is real good. So, let me pull up the right one here. I'm not seeing this month, this week's. I'll still go over what I know. Yeah, 'cause- so once again, as like we talked about last time, everything in the valley is now green. Elm, Hudson, that north little piece of Locust, all green, Sherman's green, which means the new lines are in place and everybody in those locations are on the new services. So in most of these locations, we have abandoned the old main. Thank goodness we finally abandoned North Elm. We might drop the water table a couple feet by the leaks we're now preventing. As well as Lincoln is 100% done, and Jerry can now finish up his graveyard.
I'm working on it.
All the valves along Main Street, the 4 main ones, as well as the one on Lincoln and Weldon, are now complete. So when we have to do isolations, we've got a lot better control. We don't have to take down as much town. We still have some valves to do over at Thorpe and Main, but we won't have to take down large chunks to do that now. The main is in on Coble, and today they actually got services in at Carlson's, Aunt B's. I don't know if they got the deck clean done, a couple, the house that's right south of there, so they're working on Coble services, including, clear down at the end by Maple, they're actually working on some of those. They also have the entire line in on Freeborn from Maine, clear down to Highland is in, it's not energized yet. They've got it in, but they haven't filled it up yet to test. And so they'll actually start on services, probably next week they'll start on those services. We don't know yet, he hasn't decided whether he's gonna jump to Roosevelt or Cedar next. We'll start on one of those 2 back up at Maine and work south.
Okay.
As of right now, this project was slated to have to be done by, I think, middle of November range, somewhere in that time frame. As of right now, if he would keep going at this process, we'd be well done by September 1st.
Cool.
The mains will definitely be in, and we could even be in by August 1st with all the mains and energized and tested. And then it's just a matter of services, so we could see a slowdown in services. You know, if Carlson's the one subcontractor that's in town helping him, they're definitely gonna pull out shortly. And so it'll just be Charlie's crew finishing up the last couple main runs of services. So if he keeps the partial crew here, full crew here, even if you see that slowdown happening, we're still gonna finish well ahead of the deadline, well ahead. So, as a side note, we had one poor resident that, we found last week, called, Harper got the call about 8 o'clock. It was either Wednesday or Thursday night, I don't remember which night it was. And he called Charlie and I up, we met him out there in an alley, we found a meter in an alley on North Locust, and the gentleman didn't have water at 8 o'clock at night. Well, 2 blocks away, we had abandoned a block of line earlier that day. Everybody else on North Locust is tied in their front yards. This meter was still in the alley, and it ran a block and a half to tie into a main. So, We still find those occasionally. We got him jumper over that night, got him water that night, and the next day Charlie had a new service put into the house and back tied onto a system. But there are those out there that we are finding that are just like, wow, seriously, okay. But the house was probably put in the 1930s or 40s, and so at the time, that was probably the closest main.
You mentioned the plan of operations.
Oh, the plan of operations, we, to get 50%, once we pass 50%, we have to turn in the plan of operations to KDHE as part of the loan requirement. And we turned that in last week, so that this reimbursement that goes up to KDHE will not get held up. Technically, we're at 49% right now, so they shouldn't hold it up, but it's there to be through.
Just prior to coming down to the meeting, I got the notification that the plan has been fully approved and filed, so.
Okay,
we're good to go.
good,
Awesome.
okay. You wanna address your water line pay estimate number 5?
Sure, I can do that too. Make sure that one's here.
I'm gonna make you beg for money, huh?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. Zach, come on up. Oh.
And 15, I guess, is approved by
Um,
engineering. Yeah,
The right spot here.
It's an invoice this evening for $22,404.56. It's for the, engineering construction phase. That was $3,500 on the completion of the operations and maintenance plan. And then the other portion of this pay estimate is for the resident project observation.
Right.
and
This has been Chris in the field
Me
and
sometimes.
Darren whenever we had to call him.
Yep. Which,
It's been a lot lately.
I'll entertain a motion to approve EBH engineering invoice.
So moved.
There a second?
Second.
Been moved second, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 5-0. Number 16, approval of Ransom Grant Administration invoice. Tiffany?
Ransom has provided an invoice for us on the water line project. This invoice is in the amount of $5,000, for a portion of their grant administrative services.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve Ransom Grant Administration invoice.
Second. Second.
Moved and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 5-0. Number 17, approval of CDBG drawdown request number 5. Tiffany?
The CDBG drawdown request, the amount we are requesting this time is $40,000, for the contractor portion of the project. And that totals our CDBG money, with that included, is $280,000, so that leaves us with $320,000.
Okay. I move to approve CDBG grant drawdown request. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Approval of KDHE SRS loan drawdown number 6. Tiffany?
This one is payment request number 6. There is $5,000 for administrative costs. That's the Ransom invoice just approved. $22,404.56 for the EBH invoice just approved. And then the ditch diggers pay estimate of $279,528.29, for a total of $306,932.85. However, it's reduced by $40,000 because of the CDBG request that we just approved, so the total amount for our pay request number 6 for KDHE is $266,932.85.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve,
So moved.
and second,
Second.
been moved and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Number 19, approval of second half pool support invoices. Tiffany?
We have 2 invoices from USD 408, totaling $68,000. $50,000 of that is for the, half of the pool assessment, bond payment, and then $18,000 for the pool expenses, established per our resolution 2109. So we are just looking for approval of those invoices so we can get that paid to the school.
Okay, I'll move to approve the SD 408 pool invoices.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Number 20, approval of live pole attachment extension agreement, Roger.
Back in August of 2016, we entered into a pole attachment agreement with Eagle Communications that defined attachments to our poles, creates the franchise charge of $2.50 per pole attachment. It gives us all of the notification parameters when we're doing work, when they're doing work, all of that. I received a request from Travis Collis, their regional vice president. His desire is to just extend the existing agreement for an additional 5 years, which would have this ending August 28th of 2026. It is the recommendation of staff that we just extend, renew for an additional 5 years. The contract has worked very well for the past 5 years.
Is this the same amount they paid in the past?
Yep.
Okay. Any further questions of the council? I move to approve the live pole attachment extension agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Number 21.
Mayor, would you like to take just a short break while we get Officer Slater and Officer Blue in here?
Sure, you could do that. 5 minutes?
I'll give you enough time to.
Yeah, he should be right there.
Yeah, there it comes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're up. Yeah.
Okay, so last year we had a 5K to run, raise money for Will. And we had a pretty good turnout. I think last year we profited about 2,000 with t-shirt sales and just donations towards the run and people that want to do the run. I'm asking to do that again this year. Hopefully we don't have another incident like we did last year with the dog. We lost some of that money that we raised because she decided to eat a cord. So hopefully that doesn't happen again, but, our plan, if you guys are okay with it, was to start at the baseball fields like we did last year, and then just run through town. We won't go across Main Street, just because since being a state highway, we didn't wanna have to block traffic or anything like that, so we just stay north of Main. Last year, we had the fire department help out with blocking traffic on Cedar, and I would see about doing that again this year. But I just wanted to run that past you guys and get your guys' approval.
I think it's a great idea.
And this year she will be, I didn't run with her last year, this year, she's gonna run in the race too with me,
Oh, she is?
so, it'll be warmer, so hopefully she can stay up with me.
Any questions, the council? Well, I think it's for a good cause, and I think it's a good idea, and I hope you get lots of support, when do you start signing that?
After, we were gonna start after I'd spoken with you guys.
Okay,
Even though COVID was last year, like the main part of COVID, we started a pretty good turnout, so I'm thinking this year, hoping anyway, we'll have a bigger turnout, just
Okay.
because, people are out doing more things and stuff.
they need approval in the form of a motion.
They would appreciate it.
Okay.
It's-
Well, I will move to, allow them for Blues 5K run and fundraiser. Do I hear a second? Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, hit, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Check his pocket. Don't get on.
Turn him out.
Alright,
for rare minerals, they probably got them on me somewhere, along with bacon.
okay. Well, let's move on to number 22. 2022 municipal budget discussion. Roger?
In your packet, you have a draft copy of the budget workbook that will be filed with the state once we complete this process. It gets filed through the county clerk's office, and they'll set the mill levy rate based on the final valuation. As we discussed earlier, the process has changed. There's no longer a tax lid or an automatic inflationary adjustment for consumer price index. Instead, we're given a revenue neutral rate by the county, and in our case, that's 71 mills for the city, based on the valuation that was put together in June. So from that time, we've gone through, after the discussion of the priorities during our workshop session, met with each one of the department heads, and we've put into the budget that you have in front of you this evening, where we're at. Now, I guess I just need to talk through some of the components that are in here, so we're all on the same page, and then I'll ask for some specific